Meeting to order. Let's see. The minutes were sent out. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Any changes or additions, subtractions? I'll accept a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No public forum tonight. So, John, looks like you're up with the water.
All right. Staffing back to the forefront again. Right now, I mean, typically, including myself, there's 25 people in the water division. That includes office staff and the engineering department and so forth. But that's 25 altogether. On the distribution crew, we usually have 9 people. We're down to 3 right now. 2 of them only been there a couple months, so you know they're gaining knowledge quickly and they're doing well. But we're just very limited by that, and our advertisements haven't been met by people. We have applicants. They're not licensed, not even with a CDL or hoisting, never mind drinking water. So we have a couple potential people that we hope to hire, but again, it's going to take them time to get up to speed, but that's still already 2 out of the 6 positions. In treatment, we also have 1 vacancy in the meter room. In treatment, we have 1 vacancy. Now, to top it off, so we're down to 8 vacancies. We now have 3 people for various reasons extended. So we're in tough shape. So we haven't been able to do everything that we want to do. We need to flush some areas and stuff due to some discolored water, and we haven't been able to accomplish it as quickly as we would have liked. So doing the best we can, but just wanted to make you aware of it and hoping with the next contract we have with that union that we can get the wages up to attract and retain people. So everybody's increasing their wages, and we're just not quite keeping up. We need to kind of keep up and do a little better so that when they raise theirs again, we kind of are competitive. So we're definitely in the spectrum. We're at the low end of it in the area. But that's where we're at. So we're going to do the best we can. There's only a couple of us with drinking water licenses for the distribution system, just myself and Steve Neal, the distribution system manager. The treatment people, we don't have full certified people there either. So DEP is aware of that, but they understand we're not the only ones facing these type of issues. So, but it's something that we need to deal with. Based on that, we did, the purchasing department did reach out to the state, and we had a waiver granted for hiring basically on-call personnel if necessary. The other problem is trying to find them. A lot of the companies are short-staffed, they're so busy they can't accommodate you, so we're working on that as well. But we also, like I said, we got that waiver, so it kind of gives us some leeway as to hiring, if an emergency arises and we need some coverage or something like that. So we have reached out to a couple companies and got some pricing, so we are working on that. We may also have to request another one for treatment operations too, to try to get some assistance in that area, depending on the people that are out, how long they're going to be. So every day is a challenge. I mean, literally in the morning, it's like, what do we need to do today? What do we need? What's the priority? And what's going to have to be put off till tomorrow, or the next day? So we're just in, emergency mode every day. So the treatment plants are also posing a bit of an issue, particularly the one up on Ringe Road. We are, with the turnover that we see, the seasonal turnover in the spring and fall. With the fall turnover, we've seen a high level of manganese in the water, which is much of it's passing through, unfortunately. It's not, a health hazard or anything like that, but does have some little flecks in the water and also some discoloration. So if people are seeing that, we're hoping that will go away in the coming weeks once that turnover is complete. But we've never had this level of manganese in the water, pop up, during a turnover or any time. So it's something we're not used to. So hopefully once things settle down after that seasonal turnover, that things will be fine. So we are going to have to do some flushing tomorrow in a couple areas where some of that water is. Like I said, it's not hazardous or anything. It just it's unsightly and doesn't look the greatest in the water. So, but And Mass DEP is aware of that too, so we're very open with them and make them aware of any issues that we are having, so that's pretty much what I have, so nothing else. I mean, it's not working on other projects and things, but everything's just slow nowadays with getting parts or SCADA just as one thing. We're still waiting for parts. Some of the computer-related equipment isn't going to come. We've got a lot of it. It's actually in storage, but the rest of it's not coming until March. So it's just frustrating because it just causes problems because all that stuff is older. So, and when you don't have enough personnel and you have those other issues pop up, it just compounds the whole thing. So. If there's any questions, if you have anybody that's interested in a job,
Any questions for John? No. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mark, what do you got?
I got some updates on the projects that have been ongoing in the city. The first one is the CSO, the 007, 011, 039, and 048. I got all the information in the agenda, so it's a bunch of streets that we have completed with the trench excavation. Was the last item was DePrano's Drive, which was completed on October 5th. And so they're getting ready now to do a lot of the pre-CCT inspection for the upcoming lining. They're doing a lot of cleaning, inspection, and testing, and the sealing of the sewer mains. And it's all getting ready for the upcoming CIPP installation, which is the cured-in-place pipe on a bunch of streets that I've listed within those minutes. Also, I just got a heads up while we were sitting here on paving, an update on the paving, which I didn't have before, but I have now. They're going to be doing curb-to-curb milling and paving, weather-dependent, of course, from October 31st until November 11th. And they're going to be doing it on Nashua Street, Walnut Street, Payson Street, Crown Street, Providence, Birch Street Passway, and South Street, the outgoing lane to Leominster only, from Electric Ave to the old South Street School. So that was good news, that they can get that done before the weather turns. The next item I have is the next big project that's coming, which is the CSO 10, 32, 45, and 83. That's the big $30 million project that we voted on last spring. And that's supposed to take beginning construction next spring, the next construction season. And I've listed a few of the tasks that Weston and Sampson has completed for us. The biggest item was getting the SRF loan application submitted, and so that was done last Friday. And so we're on the road for that. It's going forward, and like I think I said the last time, CSO 10 is going to be the first project. And that's going to take a year, and then the remaining CSOs, 32, 45, and 83, will take about a 2-year project, and that's going to start in 2024. So that's the biggest one that's coming up. Any questions on those?
Questions for Mark?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Like we're good?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
CSO, what CSO numbers are going to be completed next year? And which ones in
Number 10, which is CSO 10 is going to be completed first, and that's the first one they're going to do. That's over by River and Maine, right around where that bridge is by the Dunkin' Donuts. That's the first one. So that takes that area. Let me see, I have a map.
North?
What's that?
North.
North, yeah, up into the hills.
Okay.
CSO 10 will be in that area around Main Street, up into the hills over there, parts of Prospect Street too. And so that should alleviate a lot of problems there. Then the big one comes, 32, 45, and 83 is all the ones on the other side of town where the art museum is. Yeah, that's where a lot of the flows coming down to the treatment plant is from that area. That's going to take a long time. So that's the second part of the project.
Yeah, I just have one other question. Mm-hmm. There's some notes made here about work being done on Drapanos.
Yes. Drapanos was, the sewer spot repairs was completed. The trench excavation work was done in that area. and that was done on October 5th.
And what type of work is being done there? Isn't that a private road?
It's a private road, is that? Oh, I don't know. I'd have to check to see what Western Sampson says about that. All I know is what's coming up next is, because we own the sewer line under it. But they're going to be doing the sewer and drain construction on this street, and then relining it is the next coming up, so.
Okay. So the city owns
The sewer,
the sewer under a private road?
yeah.
Okay.
Seems strange. I don't know the history of it, so I can't tell you how that came about. I can
Yeah, it's
find out,
probably the
though.
easiest way to run the sewer line, and there's basically a prescriptive easement or easement through there, so we have water mains and some streets that aren't there across country where we'll have easements and things like that, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. After the projects, I have a staff update, like John does. We had the vacant plant superintendent, my old position. We finally got someone to take over the duties, so Ryan Burns, who was a senior operator at the treatment plant, he assumed the position on Monday this week, and so this is his first week on the job, which has been a great help for me. Now I don't have to visit the treatment plant every day and deal with the issues. So he's going to be doing a good job. He's one of the best senior operators I had, so I was very happy to see him step up and do that. With that being said, now we have to backfill him. And he's a grade 7 operator, the highest, which are, like John's, the high license. They're very difficult to find. So we're hoping that we can find someone who's willing to move to transfer to Fitchburg and work for us. We've been very lucky in the past. You know, we've, out of the last 2 or 3 vacancies, we've gotten people, you know, within a short amount of time. So we're hoping that we can get somebody and that'll help out with the work down there, because it is a job, it's a position that has to get filled, and so we have to fill it with overtime. And that gets old during, you know, if it goes on for months and months. Well, you also have a couple of vacancies down the treatment plant. Other than this one, we have a couple in the maintenance department. We had a retirement, and we had a promotion too. So those are going to have to be backfilled, but those are easier to fill. The next item is we had an EPA and a DEP audit back in July. I think I reported about it when it happened. We finally got their report, and it came back in September. It was a favorable report, didn't have any issues, no write-ups, no corrections for us to do, so it was nice to see. They don't give you kudos, but, you know, if you don't have any corrections, it's a good report. And that's how we look at it. One item I didn't have on the agenda, but I just want to mention, we'll talk about it more next month, it's the pricing of chemicals. I mentioned it how last spring, you know, we set the budget back in April and May. Well, the pricing for the chemicals didn't come out till June, and we saw a great increase in chemicals. And, you know, it's really affecting the budget this year, and so we're going to have to address it before it becomes an issue. But we saw prices, especially with sodium hypochlorite, the chlorine. It's what we use to disinfect the wastewater. It went up 117% from last year. And
Yeah, chlorine in general is, we use chlorine gas, we're seeing price increases, so.
yeah. And I had you know, we reached out we get our chemicals from the Northeast Merrimack Valley Chemical Consortium, and it's like 70 or 80 municipalities that pool their resources together to get the best prices for the whole region. So we're suffering with them too. But they came out with a statement this week that says costs for almost all inputs to chemical production, meaning labor, fuel, energy, raw materials, and equipment, they've increased and likely will continue to increase until inflation is reined in. Notably, we probably see a spike in all the cost of rail transport of all the commodities in the near future, and this will likely translate into further increases in the price of water treatment chemicals. So there's talk about looking for prices now for next year and get it done quicker. and we're waiting to see how it goes with that. But we're gonna have to probably readdress the budget item, because we're gonna run into a deficit, sometime next spring. Overall, probably all the chemicals.
Everything's expensive. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, we're not the only ones.
We're not immune to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mark?
Nope, that's all I have.
Any questions, Mark?
Good.
When do we start looking at numbers for next year?
The budget, I wouldn't say March-ish,
We
April.
start January, start pulling some
Yeah.
stuff together.
Yeah.
I mean, we all kind of know or assume what we're going to expect next year. Can we kind of look at things as though we got to try to tighten our belt? I know costs are going up. Everybody's business, everybody is experiencing it in every corner. But, we always just turn to the taxpayer and say, here's another increase. We really need to start looking at ways that we can trim costs. And if we start looking at it now,
We use the absolute minimum chemicals.
back,
I'm just saying, we strive to, not only because of costs, but also because I firmly believe the less chemicals we put in the water is better for everybody,
Yeah.
So we really we're actually using less chlorine than we ever have. We used to have all kinds of satellite chlorination stations, but we're down to like 1.5 parts per million in the plant. We used to be way up there, but with the filters and stuff. But yeah, no, we've been looking at all that. We are undergoing the rate study, which will try to forecast some of that, but
And please, commissioners, you're the experts.
No.
We rely on you, but, everybody's kind of preparing for tightening the belt next year.
Yeah.
It'd be good if we could just look at everything and say, how can we save a few pennies here and there?
Yeah.
Little pieces here and there that might help us
Yeah.
with that component of it, right?
No, we're always looking at places where we could save money. Is there a cheaper source for this? We pretty much anything we buy, anything we buy. So, it's just hitting us. You need a hydrant that goes from $2,200 up to $2,700. And that's the only height. It's just we can't install less hydrants. We got to replace them as they're required. So yeah, it's just tough. We've tried looking at every single thing because we don't want to push that burden over to the customers. Anything we can save, and that's what I'm fearful about staffing levels. Being as low as are, if we have to start contracting this stuff out, it's cheaper for us to have the people, but if we have to start contracting, it's gonna really affect the budget, because those people are paying a lot more than us, plus they have the overhead, the insurance, and everything else. We got that all built in, they're gonna charge that with their rates. For a treatment plant operator, equivalent to what we do, they're talking $175 an hour, that's what the person to supply, for one of our guys, we're about a third of that cost, or maybe a little more than a third, but so you multiply that by many people. That's why we're I'm concerned about staffing is like trying to get people, and we need to pay more. We don't necessarily need to pay. We have better benefits than some of the private things. I hope a better quality of life too, but to avoid the additional cost if we have to contract out more work, that's my fear, so. But no, it's important. I think we share whatever we can save money. We're always trying to find a better deal on anything, or see if there's another alternative. So, and try to save money. Even from heating to electrical costs, we're constantly looking at where we're going to be upgrading some of our pump stations next year to go to VFDs and different pumps to save money on electricity and stuff. And some of that will be through grant money, but some of them we pay, but they need to be replaced anyway. But let's do it right and minimize how much electricity is used out there. So every project we do is geared towards is this going to save us money, as far as electricity or something like that. And we've installed VFDs at our plants where they weren't and things like that, just to save as much on electricity as possible, because that's another factor that's going to be going up this year is electricity. City stuff in the city is on Unitil, but I know National Grid is out in our regional plant out in Hubbardston and that area where our pump stations are. So we need to make sure that they're going up quite a bit this winter. So I'm not sure if they're going to stay up after that, but yeah, I know, I'm sure Mark's the same. I don't want see any more burden on the customers as possible. I mean, we haven't had a rate increase in like 5 or 6 years, so I think that's pretty damn good, that we've avoided it. And we're among the lowest water rates. I'm not saying they're not going to be going up, but to have the lowest rates and not have a rate increase in 5 years and still have our budget and put money back into retained earnings and stuff, I think that's pretty damn good, so.
Yep, we appreciate it.
Yeah, when I was down the treatment plant, I took it very serious. One of my jobs was to, maintain the costs, not just with the chemicals, but also with manpower, just doing stuff without splurging,
Sounds you're at some critical levels with staffing.
Yeah. With chemicals, we played around with the adjustments to find out what our bare minimum usage was before we would start to get in trouble, and so we're kind of there now. But a lot of our chemicals are flow-based, we've been very fortunate the last couple of years. It's been dry. If we have a wet winter into a wet spring, the numbers that we're looking at now could get a lot worse. But with all the improvements that have been going on upstream, with all these CSOs repairs and everything, we haven't seen the big fluctuations in flows at the treatment plant that we used to see. We've had a couple of big rainstorms in the last couple of months, hardly any impact to the treatment plant. So
last summer was really wet too, and that's when you would have seen.
So it's been the stuff that's going on, the big major projects is making a big impact to the treatment plant. So it's helping. Unfortunately,
so the big bang comes over the next 2 years, right? These are the big pieces.
The next 3 years, really, because next year's CSO 10, but it's the one after that, which is going to take a 2-year project. All that behind there, yeah.
And the reality is that all that money that they're saving on treating is not, having an immediate impact, but the next 100 years, it's going to, you're not going to treat billions and billions and billions of gallons of stormwater that went into the sewer. So, they're spending money now, but it's going to save money down the road. And eventually, in some ways, it may even pay for itself at some point. It may be a break-even point where it's like, we spent these tens of millions of dollars, but for the next 50 years or whatever, we don't have all this extra water coming in there. And think of everything you save, So
I don't mean to keep running the meeting. Just one more question, just a visual thing. We're doing the sewer separation now. How do we compare to other cities similar to us? Lowell, Worcester, Leominster, Springfield. Are we ahead of the curve? Are we kind of right in the middle? Are we behind the curve?
I can check. I really don't know. I don't know if they're under consent. Some are under consent decrees. I don't know how many.
Just curious.
I'm curious too. I know the EPA is very, they look very favorable at what we've done and what we've accomplished.
Yeah.
They're very happy with what we're doing. And so they very rarely have they checked in on us, We send them the biannual updates, and we very rarely get a response back that says, do this, do that. Usually it's just good job, keep on doing a good job.
Thank you.
I think we mentioned before, every time they do a separation project, it's not just fixing the sewer, it's fixing the stormwater systems too. New catch basins or whatever needs to be done there so that, there's better drainage on the streets too. That's, that's corrected, so it's a plus.
Yeah. It's an old city. It takes a little bit to fix, and we're getting there.
That's where Leominster has the advantage. It's like Fitchburg developed a lot earlier than Leominster. Yeah. And I don't know, Leominster just had a better idea when they developed instead of all the combined systems.
Yeah, too, Fitchburg.
Yeah. It's all ledge and hills. Let's not make an extra excavation for the pipe. Let's put it all into one.
Exactly.
We find it with our water. Every water line, guess what's on top of it? Gas.
Yeah.
It's all. We ask them whenever they do it to move it off, but cast iron gas over cast iron water main. Guess what? It's always a problem. So the city put it in all the water, and behind them went Fitchburg Gas and Electric over the top of it because that was the easy place to dig and put all the gas on top of us. So it's a headache at times. Unitel's been pretty good lately about pushing it over or finding another spot for it, but sometimes we have to deal with it. It makes it pretty tough. It slows down an excavation so much when you have a 4 or 6 inch cast iron gas above you, So.
Any other questions?
Good.
Okay, next meeting, November 16th, at 5 o'clock.
Motion to adjourn?
We have a second? We are adjourned. Thank you.